So we're going to go ahead and take George, pronouns he, him, calling in all the way from Bulgaria, who has some new age beliefs to defend and says that we are eternal beings. I want to know what that means. But George, you're on the line with Forrest and Graham. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. So what tell me, you said your beliefs are new age. I don't know what that means specifically. And you said we're eternal beings. I want to know what that means as well. Please tell us what you're calling in for and why you believe it.
Yes, I'm gonna tell a little bit of a framework so you can understand where I'm coming from.
Sounds good.
So God, the one God is pure existence. And for there to be reflection and awareness, we are eternal beings, but the one God doesn't have awareness.
Okay, I got a question before we go too far. First, I apologize for interrupting, but I find that if we go too far with these claims, these premises that you're laying out without questioning some terms and defining some things, we can get lost or we can talk across one another. So your first sentence was, God is
pure existence.
Pure existence. Is that what you said? God is pure existence. Is that what you said?
Yes, and by definition.
So, yeah, you're probably ahead of me. What does pure existence mean?
He has the quality, the property to exist.
Doesn't everything that exists have that property?
Yes,
it sounds like
we can get to there.
It's not so. It's it sounds like you're saying that the existing itself, I exist, and the existing that I am doing is a facet of this God, or are you saying that it's the result of the God?
Or are you saying
exactly
existence is God, in which case I would that's very boring to me. It's like saying my coffee cup is God. I don't care about that. I care about what does my coffee cup want me to do. So
yeah.
So what is it? Existent God is existence. Is that your statement?
Yes, he is pure existence, and by definition, existence has to exist, and non-existence doesn't exist.
I just want to reiterate, what you just said to me is that things that don't exist can't be. Things exist because they exist, and the things that don't exist don't exist. That about sums it up?
Yes.
All right. So what is the next step from there? Okay, we agree that there are things that exist. How do you get from there to a God, or we are eternal beings?
So for there to be awareness, there has to be some kind of reflection. So we, as eternal beings,
I just want to define a term. I want to define a term. You said there must be reflection. Do you mean consciousness? Is that the same as reflection?
For there to be awareness and consciousness. For there to be awareness and consciousness, there has to be some kind of a reflection, like more than one being or something.
A reflection. So do you mean communication? Because a reflection, to me, the basic definition is something hitting something and coming back off of it at an angle. So like light reflecting off of a mirror. But then you brought up you needed a second being. So are you mean communication?
Yeah, I have questions about that too.
Yeah.
So let me say this. We as eternal beings,
we're not there yet. Hold on. We're not there yet.
We're still trying to understand what you're talking about.
So you said there must be reflection, and then you mentioned a second being. So what do you mean by reflection? Define reflection.
This is where we come in as eternal beings.
That is not a definition of reflection.
Well, hold on. So let me ask a clarifying question. Are you saying that if hypothetically, if a person was born and lived their whole life without any other contact with any other conscious thing, like they just lived in a room with no windows, and their entire life somehow they never interacted with anything else with a mind, no other animals, nothing. would that person not have any awareness of the universe? Are they not reflecting? Like what's going on in that situation?
That is a hard question.
Thank you.
I don't know where to start.
Well, is it sounding like you're saying that like our existence is somehow contingent on our interactions with each other? And I don't understand where that's coming from.
I'm talking in terms of definitions, properties, qualities. So let me give you another example.
Sure.
If nature is neutral, doesn't care at all, it still gives one a choice. So that makes it more on the inclusive side.
I'm totally lost. I don't know about you, Forrest. I deal with words on a regular basis. I don't know if it's a translation issue, but I don't think it is. Let me jump to the chase. We don't have a ton of time. We got a lot of callers. We took a lot of time for the first one. You say that there is a God and God is existence. Does your God want you to do anything?
No, he's asleep.
Okay, so why should we care?
The one God.
So why should we care?
Let me say this.
No, answer my question. Why should we care about your God if it doesn't want us to do anything? If there's no desire, why should we care? Why?
What I'm saying is that we created the universe and the world.
Okay, no, we didn't.
So
I'm done.
Okay, so, yeah, sorry, no. So then it's idealism. It's like Alan Watts type stuff, where like our consciousness is what is currently and constantly creating reality around us, and our collective existence is what is called God. We just slap a name and a personification on it because of our limited understanding of the true scale of the universe. When in reality, all of us constantly, consciously thinking and interacting together is what is creating reality around us. Is that what you were saying, George?
Yes. All we have access to is awareness, and we are that. We are awareness. There is no physical reality.
So then let's test that and take that to a look. Because like if it, to Graham's point, if this God is a thinking agent that wants stuff, then that's something to talk about. If it isn't, then who cares what it wants if it doesn't want anything? But it sounds like you're saying that this isn't really a guy. It's just like the emergent property of all of our consciousness together and stuff like that. So if that's the case, then my next question is, do you have a reason? Yes. Sorry, I was going to ask a different question, but I figure it's not important. Do you have any reason to believe that, as opposed to believing that reality, objectively physical reality, is separate from us and our consciousness is just interacting with that and observing it rather than producing it?
The first part of your question, what was that?
Do you have any reason or evidence to believe that our consciousness is producing reality, as opposed to reality being a separate objective thing that our consciousness is just interacting with and interpreting? I shouldn't say the word reality. I should say the universe, because our consciousness is a part of reality too. So like the universe, the physical world around us. Is there any reason to believe that this table next to me, my cell phone, doesn't actually exist, is the product of my mind and your mind being a part of it, as opposed to saying this cell phone literally physically exists, I am touching it and interacting with it and thinking about it and things like that?
Like I said, all we have access to is awareness, and science should start from there.
Science does. This is sounding a lot like basically hard solipsism. I know it's slightly different, but it's the same. I find it incredibly boring. You believe in a God that doesn't want anything. Therefore, there's nothing to learn from it. There's nothing to obey. There's no consequence for not believing in it. And then you jump to a claim that we are eternal beings. It just sounds like I think New Age is a great a great description because it is very, very. I grew up. I was born in the 1970s, so I grew up when New Age became popular and became aware of this stuff. And even back then, I had identified it as just utter woo. There's no there. There's nothing. It's just a bunch of people staring at their belly buttons and saying, you know, almost like they're just stoned and eating a pizza and going like, "Wow, what if this pizza doesn't exist? What if you don't exist? What if I'm making the pizza exist?" And it's like meaningless. Like, who cares?
I would ask George, is there any way in which you can falsify your belief? Like, can you say, if this is true, then I know that my belief about reality is not true?
You're very correct on your, like what you said. So let me think a second.
Sure.
So let me say this. We're doing it for fun. We're not doing it for anything. We're doing it for fun.
That doesn't answer my question at all. My question was, is there any way that you can falsify your claim? There might be a language barrier. Like, I'm not trying to talk down to you. I want to make sure we're speaking in common. Yeah. You understand what I mean, right?
What experiment could we run to show that you're wrong? Like, there's an experiment we could run to show that you are wrong. Then we could go run that experiment and find out if you're wrong. So what would that experiment look like?
As an example, I'm coming at you from the opposite end. I'm materialist, and so I'm saying that the universe literally physically exists, and I'm just interacting with it and participating in it. I'm not creating the universe with my mind. You could prove that wrong by having somebody like create something out of nothing with their mind in front of me, or convincing me that something is real and having me become a part of it. Those would be ways to prove me wrong. So even if I don't think that's possible, I can identify that as a way to prove this wrong.
Right.
How can you prove yourself wrong?
It's a little bit tricky because we have created the universe to be so elusive and God to be so elusive.
Well, you're just assuming the premise of your conclusion here. It's tricky because it's tricky to prove that I am creating reality because I am creating reality. Yes. You're basically at hard solipsism, which is a brain in a vat, right? How can we tell whether or not we're a brain in a vat that's being fed inputs to us or creating our own reality versus we are actually separate agents that interact with each other and the universe? My philosophy 101 professor in college asked that, like, how can prove to me that this chair exists? And one of the students said, I can pick it up and hit you with it. And that's pretty much where I stand. You know, like, it's kind of boring. Like, I get hit by chairs. I feel it. I didn't ask for that to happen. I'm pretty sure that I am not manifesting reality around me.
But that's the thing. Like, you at the end of the day, you can't prove it. You could say that you actually didn't get hit by the chair, and that in reality you're just imagining that you did, and that your brain is telling you these things, or your brain isn't even real. This is all a dream of some god that's just dreaming, and this is a child's dream, and when the child wakes up, reality will end. You can't disprove it. We're all in a simulation.
We're all in the Matrix.
The next level of the video game, and then we're all just, the machines are telling us what to believe and what, or none of this is real. Or it is real just now. You just woke up at this very instant. You just became conscious. The universe just started existing. Every memory that you have was implanted in you, and this is actually where the universe started. Like, none of these things can be disproven or falsified in any way. So they don't mean anything. There's no reason to believe in them because there's nothing that you could ever do or say to prove them wrong or right. And it sounds like, George, what you're saying here is the same thing. You're just saying stuff that kind of sounds cool, but like, there's no way to test it, no way to prove it, no way to disprove it. It's just stuff that you said, and it doesn't mean anything to us. And even if it's true, it doesn't change anything about our world or our reality, or it's nothing that we can actually like interact with. So what's the point, man?
A God that doesn't exist or interact with the universe is indistinguishable, I should say. A God that doesn't interact with the universe is indistinguishable from a God that doesn't exist, so I don't care about it. So you've said that your God doesn't care what we do. There's no consequences to believing or not believing. Why would you? Who cares? Why should people care about what you have to say?
Because by definition, every change could be viewed as a total change, and each moment could be viewed as a new universe, a new reality.
And again,
okay.
like that doesn't actually mean anything. You're just like this, like what I need you to understand, George, is like, well, let me ask you this. And rather than talking to you, let me ask you, what you're proposing, does it make any testable predictions? Is there anything that can be gained knowledge-wise from testing what you're saying, or from operating under the framework that what you're saying is accurate? Can we learn any new information that would actually benefit us in any way?
We're doing it for fun, and we can create anything at all.
Okay, can you please create $1 million for me?
That would be fun.
I'd have a lot of fun with that.
Well, this is where it gets tricky again.
Tricky, yeah.
The answer is no. The answer is no, you can't, because that's silly, right? So at the end of the day, George, it doesn't sound like we're going anywhere with this call. It sounds like you have some thoughts, but you have nothing to back them up with. And even if these things are true, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, unless, Graham, you have something else.
No, I appreciate the call. I appreciate that you find this important to you, but I'm more worried about fascist governments around the world trying to use religion to lock people up than whether or not I'm manifesting my pizza in front of me.